Hello cave dwellers, welcome into the cave. You heard me recently mention an arcade project that's going on the go. Yes, we are building an arcade museum down on the ground floor of the mill here. And it's all thanks to this man, Alex. Welcome again to the cave.
Thank you very much.
And today, I guess it's partly big reveal and it's partly showing you the project so far because it is well underway. Now there's going to be a build series just like there was for the cave here. It's not going to happen on my channel, but we are going to start it. We're going to kick it off on this channel.
Kick it off on your channel, why not?
Give you a bit of a boost and some exposure, and then we're all going to jump over to Alex's channel where he's going to show us week on week, or however frequently you're going to show this, the build of the arcade. So we're really excited about bringing this arcade here. Let's just remind you about the canvas that we're starting with. So this is the room down on the ground floor in the West Wing. We've started with a room which was, can you remember looking around it for the very first time?
Yeah, it was just stuff, boxes
Stuff
everywhere.
Yeah. Old fruit machines that Hebrew had worked on decades ago.
Old pool table.
Old documents. The heating hadn't been turned on in there for a good decade, and that made a few of you, when you saw it in the last video, raise some questions like, oh, it's damp in there. There's not a damp problem in there.
No, it's mainly condensation with boxes right up against the wall for too long.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and no heating turned on. It's just all been left there. So don't worry too much about that, but we are stripping those walls and addressing it. In fact, let's fast forward a little bit now from what we started with to, well, when we began in earnest, really. So you can see here the room is cleared. Richard was ripping out all of the copper piping. It's got to be worth a few quid these days.
Oh yeah.
Copper piping for the radiators, and the old radiators have been ripped off. And I guess the first goal was to clear the room, to clear down the walls, to prep everything. I mean, I'm teaching you to suck eggs because you're a builder by trade, Alex.
Yeah,
so just tell us the approach. You tell us. We'd like to thank PCBWay.com for supporting our episode today. They aren't just about PCBs, although they do a tremendous job of that. They also offer CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, 3D printing and injection moulding. If you're creating, then PCBWay.com can help you bring your project to life. Get an instant quote now over at PCBWay.com, and we thank them for their support.
Yeah, we wanted to clear a lot of the old paintwork off some of the stonework so we could see the bare walls, because we think they would make a nice feature wall. So I got the grinder out and started grinding off a lot of the paint, which is extremely dusty. Yeah,
there's some footage of this here. You have to keep leaving the room and then the dust settles and then you come back again.
It's awful, but I got it done. I washed the walls down, they look really good, you know.
So in tackling those feature walls, you attacked it with your grinder, and then Richard attacked it with the pressure washer and a soft brush, which the paint that was on there, it kind of just turned to mush.
It's like a lime paint, I think, because the walls have to breathe.
Right.
It's a special paint they put on there, so it comes off just as easy as it went on.
So you can see here Richard scrubbing it. Then for the really stubborn bits, he took the brush off, and here's a slow motion shot now of Richard with the pressure washer.
Ding dong.
Ding dong. And it was an incredibly messy job, but he got it done. And there's a few more bits of white paint on there that we can scrub off by hand. But that wall is going to look superb when we're finished with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the result. And maybe you can put like a neon logo or something like that on there. And on the subject of concerns about damp and just creating the right conditions to maintain these items and keep them in good condition, we are having air conditioning installed by Ace Comfort Cooling. You may recognize these guys if you watched my build series of the cave way back. It's the same guys. Air conditioning units going in both of the rooms. Actually, the room there is quite cool in the summer,
cool.
and then quite cold in the winter. So it's more, these units are more about controlling the humidity and just keeping the temperature consistent.
Yes, definitely. We definitely need that.
Yeah. So that's getting installed. You can see them drilling a great big hole in the wall there. And I think that should serve us well and look after all the machines.
And then we've got prepare the ceilings for planning to paint that black. And maybe do something on the floor, maybe a resin glossy floor. Yeah,
it's going to be a floor to ceiling refurbishment, isn't it? So just coming back to that wall, we're in the heart of an area called the Cotswolds, which is famous for being an area of outstanding natural beauty, but also Cotswold stone, which it's got kind of a yellow colour to it, which is really nice. And what we'd like to do is treat that, keep that kind of wet look, keep that stone looking nice. So that's a feature wall. And then there's another feature wall, the same in the small room. So we should explain that really. There's a small room and there's a large room.
Yeah, so the small room, hopefully that would be where I'll be doing my videos from, presenting the museum from there. And then that small room takes you into the arcade through a little doorway, which would be completely different, you know, in terms of sort of lighting and everything else. But yeah.
The small room will be the entrance for visitors as well, won't it?
And where we want to archive a lot of maybe PCBs and marquees and anything to do with arcades, really.
So you'll come into the small room. Alex will get you really excited about going into the arcade. We might have some really rare units in the small room that are just under your supervision there.
Definitely.
I know there's talk of an original Atari Pong going in there.
That would be awesome.
On loan, under the condition that it's not on all day every day, it's just turned on at certain times.
We can have it on for a few hours a day, I reckon. You know, which would be enough.
We'll come on to the machines we want in the arcade a little bit later. So we've got the small room, we've got the large room, and let's just talk about the ethos, because we've called this a museum. It's not a museum where all the arcade cabinets are going to be behind glass. Just what's your vision for this, Alex?
Well, the vision for the museum is to create a story, so through time. So we want to start off with the original arcade machine, the most commercial game, which was Pong, Atari Pong, and then work through the ages. So I'm hoping to get games like Midway's Gunfight, the first game that had a microprocessor, and early driving games, right up to sort of where it went into colour with Galaxian, and then into the classic 80s era. And then we'll touch on some early 90s games, Jammer games, because we'll have a couple of Jammer cabs in there. And then hopefully, you know, we can rotate games every few months as well, so we keep it fresh. But the idea is to tell a story of arcade video games through time.
Yeah, and I think the cut-off point we've agreed now is around about Street Fighter 2, some Jammer, and Neo Geo.
Yeah.
That'll be, because they each have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And then before that, you've got what you call the Bronze and the Golden Age.
Yeah, the Bronze Age is just basically the black and white games, the early games, the pioneers of video games. And then into the classic 80s era, which is sort of it starts at 78 to sort of 84, I would say, in my mind. That's the classic era.
And the thing about Alex and I is we come from slightly different eras of arcade gaming. So you have fond memories of the earlier units. Mine are more mid to late 80s, early 90s, but often the arcades that I frequented, those older games carried through for a long time, well past their usual lifetime. So I got exposure to those as well. In a roundabout way, yeah. Let's move on swiftly. But no, in terms of the arcades, we've got cabinets starting to turn up now.
Yeah.
Some that you've bought, some that you've managed to get on loan through the help of the community. And this is an appeal, actually. We've had loads of lovely people come forward and offer to loan us cabinets. If you happen to have some cabinets that are languishing in a shed, in a warehouse, and you think they should get some use, reach out to us, because one of the big reasons we're doing this, and we're confident in doing this, is because we actually have the support of Heba, the electronics firm downstairs. So the talents are here to actually maintain and look after and fix and keep these machines going. That's a really important part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and the community as well, because a lot of the community are loaning a lot of cabs. It's going to be your museum as well, where you can see your games being played for everyone to see. Because at the end of the day, that's what arcade games were made for people to play. You know, so if you've got any arcade machines in an old warehouse or old lockup that you'd like to see being used, this is the ideal situation.
Let's have a chat. We'd love to.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the games we've got so far, let's take a look at some of them. I keep stumbling across arcade machines that are appearing around the building. So I saw there's a Sprint 2 in the garage. Just talk us through this. It's not in mint condition, but it's good for the age.
Yeah, it's not working. It's very dusty. And the side art's been painted over, but I can just about see some orange light of day artwork underneath the black paint. So hopefully that will come up and we can get the original art.
So, I mean, not only are we making a museum, those restorations are going to feed into your channel, and there's going to be some awesome arcade restorations.
Plenty of restorations.
Sprint 2, which of course feeds into Championship Sprint, Super Sprint. And it'd be lovely to get games that complement like that, so you can see the progression of that genre right from the start. Sprint's significant because it had a CPU in it. It was the first top-down racer, or one of the first with a CPU in. Sprint 2 because it's 2-player. There was also Sprint 4.
Yeah, it's not Sprint 2 because it was a sequel. It's Sprint 2 because it was 2-player.
Yeah.
First 2-player game.
I think there was a Sprint 8. I don't know if that was public or not, but I know
Oh,
there
really?
was certainly one in Atari itself.
Yeah.
I've heard from certain podcasts that I listen to.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Sprint. What else have you got? There's a Robotron, my favourite.
Robotron,
Yeah.
classic twin-stick shooter.
Yeah.
Eugene Jarvis, legend, you know. We've got my collection as well that's being...
Talk us through that.
Yeah,
What
well,
have we
we've got Nintendo's unreleased game Sky Skipper, which I worked on I don't know, about 4 years ago now. That would be showcased in the museum. We've got a very early Nintendo Sheriff, Miyamoto's first ever game he worked on for Nintendo. Very unique game, extremely rare. We've obviously got Rescue, Donkey Kong, Asteroids Deluxe. I've got an Asteroids Deluxe that actually used to be previously owned by the manager of Led Zeppelin. How cool is that?
That's really cool. You've also got, is it Super Hang-On or a Hang-On that you've
Super
got?
Hang-On.
Super Hang-On upright. You've got a Defender.
Defender,
which is your favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah, great game. So, I mean, you can start to see we're building up a picture here of rare, really significant games, you know, genre-defining games, as well as things like Street Fighter 2 that if you don't remember that older era of games, not calling you old again, you might be more comfortable going in, there's a Street Fighter 2, I'll have a game of that, and then start to work back through the history of the machines and start to, you know, learn the stories that they have to tell with Alex, who'll be on hand there to tell you all about it. So we're not thinking about machines being crammed in because you want to see the side art. That's important.
That's right. As I said, we want to tell a story, so there'll be a bit of information on each game telling you what significance the game had at the time, you know, because a lot of these games were pioneers, setting the mark for every other game that came after. So we want to tell that story on each and every game.
Yeah, which means it won't be stuffed full of games.
Yeah.
It'll just be, I want to say, a premium experience,
Yeah,
of just really showcasing the games. And to make that happen, the room that we're refurbishing here to house them, it can't be too busy. It can't distract from the games. So that's why you're going for a black ceiling.
Yeah.
Got the electrician book to come in. He's going to put spotlights in, isn't he?
That's right. And we're going to have coloured lights as well behind the cabs to make them pop.
Yeah, make them, so really focus on the cabinets themselves. The floor, you mentioned we want to do a resin floor. Now, the floor has been my nemesis the last couple of weeks because so much mess has been produced in this refurbishment that I've just turned into the mopping man. Here's lots of video of me mopping over and over again, and I don't think I'm actually cleaning at times. I'm just sort of shifting the dirt around the floor. So it got to the point eventually where Richard and I busted out the pressure washer, and we've really hosed it down and got it clean. So there's still a lot more work to do before we get down to the resin flooring. That'll be the last thing that we do.
Yeah, the last thing.
So you're working today on cleaning the ceiling, getting that ready for painting black.
Yeah.
The walls, undecided, either white or a sort of a grey colour that we found.
Yeah, I don't think that matters too much because, like we said, we're going to have lights behind the cabs, which will be reflecting on the wall. So you're going to see the light of the coloured lights around the wall.
Yeah.
More than the colour of the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The windows will be shut out with some shutters or something, just because you want that intense arcade feeling. I was talking to someone recently and they were saying, why are all the modern arcades that people make so dark? Because from their memories, arcades were kind of dark and dingy, but they weren't that dark. And thinking back, I remember all the arcades I went to were on the seafront. They had big bifold doors open along the front, and actually the light poured in, and it wasn't until you got right to the back of the arcade that it got that dark.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're made like they are, with the sides that sort of shroud the monitor to stop any reflection from the sun.
Yeah.
And because they're at 45 degrees, the sun just comes straight down there and then straight to your eye level.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is difficult to capture or see the screen when you've got sunlight coming in. So it's a fine balance.
Yeah, yeah. You want it to be authentic, museum-like,
Yeah.
but exciting. You want the excitement of an arcade with all the attract sounds and the neon lights and everything going on. And you're probably wondering, where are we going to repair all these machines when they break down, which they inevitably will. You know, you're going to be up against challenges like color vector monitors, which are notorious for breaking down. I think the monitors are going to be a big thing, actually. The PCBs. The cabinets themselves, you've got a lot of experience in refurbishing. You've got a lot of contacts to help keep them, and especially with repro art if needed, and control panels and things like that. Where possible, we want to keep them original and keep the patina. That's all part of it, but some of them will need restoring. And there's not a great deal of room in that space to do that, which is why Richard is talking about setting up a repair shop, an arcade hospital, if you like, in the garage next door. And that will also make a great space for a bit of filming as well, we hope. So,
definitely, yeah.
And maybe we can get the doors open on that on a visitor's day, and you can come in and see
me working away.
The latest patient in the hospital, you straddling an arcade machine, giving it CPR. So, you know, there's a lot of exciting things that happen. While I'm up here in the cave, and who knows, you might want to spend the morning in the arcade and then, you know, come upstairs and play the superior home ports of the arcade games on the 8-bit micros.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, we went to the arcade and then we rushed home to play the port on the Sinclair Spectrum or the BBC Micro. Yeah. So the two, the arcade and Neil's Computer Museum complement each other so well, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, really well.
And I think we've got a lot to discover about those crossovers and how we can work together. Now, in terms of timescales, Alex, realistically,
we're looking sort of mid-October, hopefully.
Okay. Do you think you could?
Yeah, I think
earlier,
we can do
get
that.
It open for my birthday.
Yeah. Nice big launch party.
Yeah, launch party would be good. Yeah. And I mean, through your contacts, there's a possibility of some guests coming along as well, aren't there?
Oh, definitely in the arcade world. Yeah, maybe some world champions at certain games, and some talks which we plan to do as well. Get some sort of renowned people in there that have, either got world records or done something in the community. Is what we want, because it is going to be a community thing. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, October then, you've set the date now. You've got to hit that. You've said it on a YouTube video.
Right, I'm off. I've got to get it to work.
So we're both still very enthusiastic and excited about this happening. And as I said, it will all be documented on Alex's channel. So head on over there now. There is a link hopefully appearing on your screen now, and also in the video description you can click on. Go and give him a sub. You're very close to 5,000 subs now, aren't you? So get Alex over the 5,000 sub line. And your next video is going to be an update. I know you're working on one.
I'll do an update on my video just to show where I'm going with my channel. And because my arcade that I've got at home is going to change, because a lot of my cabs are going to be in the museum. So that's all going to change. So I want to document that as well on my channel. So follow that, guys. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Awesome. Well, we better go and get our painting clothes on, Alex, so we can get back to work. There's lots to do. And I hope you really enjoyed watching the progress over on Alex's channel. And I think I'll pop back at the end, when all the work's done, we'll pop back and make an update video in October, because that's when it's going to happen, to let you know, show you the progress, and let you know we're all ready for launch. And we'll do kind of a joint cave arcade launch event.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Might be a bit late for a barbecue in October, but we'll get something going. We'll make it a good event, and I'm really looking forward to it. Take care, go and sub to him, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's episode. If you enjoyed it and like what I do on the channel, join the official Cave Dwellers over at patreon.com/RMC Retro. thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Alex.
Bye-bye. Sorry. It's a bit late, wasn't it?